Hello again. Welcome back on my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another video. I'm just gonna talk about calling judgment on people. The thing is, with calling judgment on people, and which is something that I don't like, but I've been called to do it. I've been called to call judgment on people, which is actually my sole purpose too, because obviously I don't wanna like stick to it because I have my life that I need to make changes on. I have my life that I have to constantly reinvent, that I constantly have to make changes, that I constantly have to adapt to its changes, because when I'm going through changes, sometimes they're hard. Like I have changes that I'm like, what the fuck? What just happened? So changes are something that I don't care how enlightenment you think you are. I don't care how much whatsoever. Some changes are extremely hard, despite the fact that you've been in this journey, you're in this spiritual journey for a while. Some changes are gonna like be so hard because sometimes you are connecting with the part of yourself that you suppress, so you don't know how to respond to it. You don't know how to accept that side of you that you think it's supposed to be not existing, such as calling judgment on people. Like, I was a person that never called on judgment on anyone. So like, I knew that I'm being called to make judgment. I've been called to tell people exactly as it is, because in the past, most of the time, I was happy that I coming across people who actually know that they don't like how life are turning up. I don't like anything about themselves. They don't like they judging themselves. So whenever they're judging themselves, so there's no need for me to do the judgment. The time that I was called to do judgment on people is those people who act like they don't see what they're doing is wrong. They, because they're not being called out. It's people that have been doing it for a while. For example, the time that I was actually like called out to make a judgment, for example, for me it was my parent, my siblings. It was disgusting because they act like they don't see what they're doing is wrong. It was whatsoever. But now I'm even called out to call out on people that are actually far away from me, like people who are distant, people that I have like calling up of judgment is part of the whole fucking spiritual journey. Call out but you're not supposed to call out on people on judgment, because who you are. I'm not God. Don't get me wrong. I'm not God. I would never consider myself as God. I might have a goddess vibe. I might have empress. I might have a princess. I might have like a lot of high priestess. I might be a shaman, but it does not me. It doesn't current like it doesn't. I don't have a right to call out on judgment on people unless I'm guided to give judgment on people, which is something I was like, oh no, no, like. But I've realized some people, they need to hear it. They fucking need to hear it, because they act like you don't say it. They act like what just happened didn't happen. They don't act like they are supposed to walking on that part. The worst part, you have to be around those people. You have to be around that nasty boss. You have to be around those motherfuckers who are acting like shit did not happen. Who are acting like, do you know those people who actually, okay, they victimize people and act like they're victim. And then when you're calling out of them, like, they act like you just insult them. Like, are you like like recently I had someone that I was telling him to stop what they're doing because it's wrong, and then he was like, I'm cursing him or blah blah. I was like, wait, like, there are people who are out there who believe that you being honest with them with yourself. Like, guys, I've been sick yesterday, so I had to make a video that is actually blackout, and I'm kind of feeling it right now that I'm actually sick, because obviously I like talking. I like talking. Not only that, I don't like being sick. Like, it's depressed me. Like, I don't. I like, yes, I get sick, but I don't like being sick for too long. So, like, I'm feeling it now. Like, but I'm just not gonna focus on it. But there are people who like who will, like, I mentioned that, like, they will victimize people, who will do so much shit to people, have audacity to call people and tell people that actually insulting, that this and this and this and that. Especially narcissists don't want to be told what is doing is wrong. They want you to agree with everything that they say, because everything that come out in their mouth is the fact. So, like for example, like a spiritual person who's a shaman, who's a whatsoever healer or whatever, you're like in the past, I didn't have to do judgment on people, because it was something that I was not called to do. So as I was not called to be, I have to move from not being judgmental to being judgmental. But I don't have to be judgmental to everybody. I have to be judgmental to people who are trying to get a, to do the shit agenda, to be shit people to other people, to the point that I can't take it anymore. But sometimes I don't need to not take it anymore. I just need to tell the bitch, you are a fucking dirty hole. You need to stop whatever that you're doing, because right now your shit stink. Because some people act like they don't know that their shit stink. Your shit stink. Like it's like it stink. So I had struggling moving away from not being judgmental to judgmentally. Like it's something that I had to process. Like I think it was something that I had to learn this year. Like the first 8 months of my life, like including last year, but this year it was so much I've been called to do work where I have to judge people. And judging people is just something that I like, because I'm not perfect either. I make mistakes, just that I know that I'm like, you know what, now I'm just being a dick and I need to work on it. I need to be better. I can be better than what I've just done, because I call out myself. I knew that I'm like, I don't like how I respond. I don't like this and that. I don't like the fact that I allow someone, like sometimes you just know someone is just wanna trigger you. They just wanna do you dirty. They just want to have you out of your mind. They want you to be crazy. You just know, but you want to respond. Why do you want to respond? You need to understand why you need to respond. Why do you need to respond to those people? Because you just know. There's people who you just know that every time you're coming across, there's always gonna something negative that you're gonna hear. Especially people you work with, sometimes you just need money, so you working because you need money, or maybe there's some reason that you actually make you to be around them for too long, despite the fact that because you can cut them off. But sometimes you can cut them off, but there are projects that you need to work with them, despite the fact that you have to cut them off. So yeah, so moving from not being judgmental to be judgmentally, it can be too much. Sometimes you can like, for example, for me, I came around and I was like, felt so sick about it, but it felt so right. And I got like a lot of download, as well as not just only download, it was a confirmation that what I've done, it was something needed. So it took like a huge, like eventually, like you sometimes we care so much about our own mental health, to the point that we don't test it until you've done something. You'll be like, all along I was allowing myself not to learn from this. I was allowing myself to corner myself up, because the thing is, when you, it's okay to take care of my mental health. I fuck with that. I just fuck with people who take care of themselves. I fuck with those kind of vibe. So, but sometimes we don't know when. You should know the different when to take care of it, prevent yourself from whatever shit, and when you are doing it because you are scared. Because most of the time when you are scared, there's a reason why you are scared. Most of the time it's something that you need to do. Like being the feeling of being scared, most of the time it shows that it's something that you need to do, because when you're going in within, you know this is something that you're supposed to be doing, but you are scared. That's normal. It's normal to call out on judgment on people to the point that you are scared to do it for the first time. Like it's scary. And I sometimes, like, it's not something that I would say, oh my god, I'm normalize that shit. No, sometimes I'm like, do I need to, like, like that's something that happened, like with a lot of prophet, like most of the time in church, they will tell you exactly as it is. It will sound like judgment, because most of the time judgment like the truth sound like judgment. Like it sound like a fucking judgment, because that shit is really, that shit is happening. The fact that I have to see it and other people don't see it, I need to vocalize it, even if I come across as crazy. It's okay. Like when you're spiritual, you're crazy. You already like carry that belt that you're actually crazy. And when you're talking about spiritual, like people who are actually attacking your spiritual, obvious people like, oh, who can attack you. But obviously, would think you're crazy, but it's okay. Like, it's okay to carry that belt that you're actually crazy, because eventually, at some point, people will catch on. You might receive the download fed. You might have seen first what is actually happening. The fact that you have to vocalize it, some people will follow. Maybe like later on, it doesn't matter, because most of the time, prophecy, like shaman, they see things before anyone can see it, because they are very much aligned with, they're very much inclined with the whole fucking universe. They are very much inclined with your ancestors, God. They're very like close. They have a close relationship whereby a lot of things are being revealed. That's one of the best thing about being have a special gift. But of course, it has everything. It has its pros and cons. Like, it has its downfalls. Like, you just have to know when. Because sometimes you'll be talking to someone and then they end up wanna kill you. Like, I don't know how many times I've been prophesizing things that are actually happening, and I've been called out crazy. So I think you'll be like, you go through a training whereby you no longer feeling guilty for speaking the truth that a lot of people are not yet ready to receive. It's okay. Like, it's all fucking okay. Like, it's okay. For example, like, I'm calling out on Beyonce, and I know a lot of people like, it's okay. Like, I went through experience whereby I'm telling someone that this person is performing witchcraft, and they were like, huh, she's crazy, blah blah blah, because that person actually have like a lot of shit going on in their life compared to mine. So I was looking like a crazy person. And you know what happened? Like, after I'm calling out on that person, because like it's been like 10 months receiving those downloads, I'm like, I'm gonna ignore this, I'm not gonna talk about it, I'm just gonna ignore this. I'm not This person was actually performing witchcraft, chasing the kids out on the family, and God told me that I need to tell that motherfucker to stop whatever they are doing, and I have to call him out, because obviously when I said that, people look at me like someone who's actually crazy, and I was like, God, do you think this is assignment is actually like a good assignment for me? I was like tormented, like I was mentally going through it. I didn't like the whole fucking thing. I really like it was huge assignment. And the next day after I call out on that person, because that person, when I said it, like he said he would call on cops on me. It was like one of the, you know, right now I'm seeing a bird. It said like, I have evidence? Do I have evidence on that? Because obviously, when you're talking about special things like witchcraft, people like, do you have evidence? Do you have evidence? And the next day, what happened? It was something that I didn't expect. Like, people saw him doing it. So to talking about something like that, calling out on judgment on people is necessary. You just have to know when, because when everything is happening in divine timing, it will happen in divine timing. So yeah. So obviously, like when you are a spiritual person, you are a mirror. Like you are a fucking throughout your life, you always been mirroring people. Like, girl, you can do that. Girl, you can do better than that. So I remember in the past, oh gosh, I keep on bumbling, which is a good thing. So I had this ex friend, which I met when I was a university student. So she said to me, I'm very judgmentally, because at that time I was very sensitive, because I was a person who don't like calling judgment on people, because I had my own struggle. I don't like doing judgment until I realized that I need to be versatile. I need to call out on judgment on people, not let them walk on other people's head or whatsoever, because there's this part of my purpose. I need to be versatile with my judgment. I need to know when to call it out. I need to do this, because like being a shaman, you can receive download with anyone, even the people like who gonna um scam you. You will receive download. It's up to you that you choose to shut it out. Like, you will receive download anytime, any day, whenever you're engaging with someone. Sometimes it touching their hands will be like, you get a different energy, but you're gonna ignore it, because sometimes you'll be like, ah, well, I'm crazy, like, you know. So obviously in the past, I didn't need to do, like, okay, I said I had a friend that I met in university. She said I'm judgmentally, because I was concerned about my behavior towards them. I am that concerned when I have like treated someone badly, who actually like I fuck with. I don't have to fuck with. I just don't like treating people awful. Like, it's not in me, because it's just not in me. So she said I'm judgmentally and all that, and I was like, I initially it bothered me. Like I ended up asking you when I was judgmentally to you. So please remind me when I'm actually judgmental to you. And she said she would tell me, and then I waited. I used to remind her when, just remind, because I wanted to be better, you know. So, but you know what happened to that girl? It made sense later that I was actually mirroring what she could be. Like I had friends who were actually living a different lifestyle than me, but not anymore. I'm not longer vibing with people who like that. I'm no longer vibing with people who doing blesser life. I don't fuck with those people anymore. Like they were like she was into blesser, so I wasn't. I was broke and I was accepting my situation as long as like my funding will have food. Like I was okay with the little money that I have. I was okay with the things that I actually have. I didn't feel like I need to fit in order for me to be that. I didn't need to have the all the expensive things as long as I have like whatever I have. So I used to mirror her because she was have more money than I am. Besides the blessed money she get from Blesser, she felt like I'm judging her, and I was like, wait. And when I'm done with her, I was like, okay, now I understand why she had a problem with me, but she never told me that when I was actually judgmental, because I didn't have a problem with people who are doing whatever, as long as like you are loyal, you're being genuine. So I knew that everything's a phase. Like you being a hoe, it's a phase. Like you can't tell me that you're gonna be whole forever. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna ignore the fact that people sometimes die, being a hoe. Like that happened, but I'm not saying like you can't be 20 being a hoe to the point that you reach 30 and you're still a hoe. Like you need to work on yourself. Like you need to work on yourself. Like that shit. It's not like you can't be a hoe forever. Like being a hoe forever, we are spirit, like our spirit need a real connection. I don't care that we have a different soul whatsoever, but our soul need genuine connection at some point. You can't tell me that you're gonna be a whole forever. Like you can't. So obviously I didn't call out on her behavior because I knew like probably it's a phase, because the way she went into it, it was more like she didn't want to be used whatsoever. So I just like, oh okay, maybe she's just being hurting, like when we were hurting, like because people respond differently. Just because I respond by shutting out people out in my our life, it doesn't mean other people gonna do the some. They're gonna allow people, but they're gonna have like walls and walls and walls. Some they don't wanna deal with love. They choose to have like what we call it, friends with benefits, uh like word relationship. Let me just say that some they prefer to be even in relationship that are people actually married, so that they won't be bothered. Like someone date someone who's married because they feel like married men, they don't bring problems, troubles or whatsoever. So I come across a lot of people who respond differently. That didn't bother me because that's none of my business. So but I realized when I'm growing up, I don't need to have people who also have such a coping mechanism. I might be not judgmentally, but I need to be honest with myself. I don't need to have people who have that coping mechanism that I have to respond in life like that. I don't need people to have a coping mechanism whereby they are destructive to themselves, because eventually when you are having like multiple partners and I am not into that, you know, it's hard to be around you, because most of the time whenever she started talking about her multiple partners, I used to act like I didn't hear. Like I would focus on other things because that's something that I don't want to get involved into. Like it was I was setting boundaries, but I needed to be verbal. That was something that I needed to do. I needed to be verbal about it. Like, girl, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, I'm not interested. We just, because sometimes these friends, they want to recruit you into that shit. They want you to be lesbian. For example, I had lesbian friends, and I was like, girls, I am not lesbian. I get it that you're interested into same sex. There's no big deal in that. But they wanna recruit you. They wanna that's a problem with people who don't have the same mentality as you, or who have same values and principles with you. They're always trying to recruit you into some shit. It's the same thing like it's a lot. Some people even got recruited to have like a threesome. I don't know, like a group sex whatsoever, because why, whenever you're surrounded with people who have problem with the way you live in your life, they always make it like it's wrong to live the life the way you're living. So your character itself, it called out on judgment. So I didn't need to do that. But eventually I had to do that because I realized not calling out on judgment, it was um itself, it's comfort zone. Like it's so comfortable not calling out on people's business because you'll be like, oh, I mind my own business. Oh, my money is not good. I need to beg or something. Oh, like you constantly like running away from whatever is happening around. You don't realize being a spiritual teacher, it means you be guided to call out on judgment on motherfuckers. And a lot of motherfuckers will be saying, ha, you are insulting. Ha, motherfucker will call on the cops on you. Oh, whatsoever. Like, there's a plenty of things that people do to make you shut up whenever you're calling out on judgment. Like, it's so weird how far people can go because they don't want to make changes in their life. The thing is that the reason why I was calling out on judgment because they were harming people. And I was kind of like, because the thing is, when you're ignoring what is happening around, that means you're agreeing with what is happening around. When you find a man abusing his wife and you know that he's abusing his wife, why are you quiet about it? Why are you quiet about it? The thing is, it will bother you. You won't even sleep at night. That's how you know you're supposed to call out on judgment on those motherfuckers. Why are you abusing your wife? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because at some point you will call out to do that. At some point you will be called out in court and you'll be like, why you were quiet? You will, like, your guilty conscience will eat the shit out of you because you were, it's more like you agreeing with what that dude was doing. Even if that person is your enemy, you are supposed to call out on the motherfucker because you know the truth, you know what he's doing is wrong. It can be anything. So are you telling me that if you find me like I actually kill somebody, but you don't want to get involved, you want to mind your own business, and you find me drinking that, you saw that there's actually a person's tool and in the bag, and there's actually the nails, you saw everything, you saw the blood and everything. Are you telling me you're going to be quiet just because you're not going to mind your own business? Are you telling me that this is how you want to supposed to live your life? Who said God wants you to be quiet? You will be bothered for years. That's why a lot of people end up coming up later, like, initially I was scared, I didn't want to mind, I want to be dragged into court, I want to be involved in, because obviously it's mentally draining. I understand why you have to take some lot of time for you to find it, like, no, this is not okay. Sometimes people, they have to experience that kind of shit in their life in order to realize what they did to that person was not, they were not supposed to be quiet. For example, like, I was actually watching the Indiana Jones and is it a Doom Temple? It's in 1984. Indiana was going to actually fetch the stones that were actually mystic stones that were actually stolen. It was more like an Indian tribe. So he was actually going to fetch the stones, he noticed that kids are actually abused. They were actually like abused in that because they were taken in their home at a young age to actually work for those cult. It's a cult. That cult actually stole a mystic stones that actually have powers, because eventually at some point was spirit over everything. Like, a lot of mystic things are happening. We're not gonna act like everything is logical, everything's physical, blah 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 blah. Spirit, like, when once you're in touch, you will realize that it's actually magic. People can make water like move. People can actually have eyes that can move like an object. Like, a plenty of things are actually happening that are mystical, that a lot of people like hide happening on movies, but in life is a movie, honey. Like, life is a fucking movie. So when I was actually watching that movie, so he went there to fetch some stones. He told himself that he gonna fetch those stones. He not gonna get involved with the fact that those people are actually harming children whatsoever. So he went to fetch those stones. It happened that he had gonna be trapped, because initially in his mind, I'm just gonna go there and fetch, my mission is to fetch those mystic stones because that's what I wanted. So eventually he had to rescue those kids. He had to, like, he had let how it happened. You're not gonna ignore, like, when something like you are at the fucking revolution. So when you are a fucking revolution, like, you make revolution, the revolution, everything will end with you. It's the same thing with people who are breaking generational curse. It ends with you. What you seen in your family, it does not have to contain, because you see it. The fact that you see the pattern, the fact that you know that I don't want to act like this, I don't want to be like this, and blah blah blah, and how I'm going to act better than how my parent acted. It end like something they have to end with you, you know. So, like, your philosophy is calling out on judgment already. Like, your philosophy, the fact that you're living your life the way you're living, the fact that you are okay with what you have, you are grateful for what you have. At the same time, you know that you actually want more in life itself. It's just calling out on judgment on people, because some people are like compliment. I'm just like, I hate my job. Like they're not doing anything. When you ask them, so what are you gonna do about it? They zip it, because why? They want to drain the shit out of you. That's what they do. Like but not doing anything. So your philosophy itself is calling out on judgment, because they don't even know. Like people end up thinking that you don't have it. You have things easily. They would think that everything we do is coming up or easily. You doing everything easily. Like they don't understand. You go through it. You struggling. You go through everything that you're going through it. It's just that the way you handle it, the way how you carry yourself when you're going through those fucking stuff. You don't go around trying to invite people to have sympathy on you. I hate pity. Like I don't like doing pity. Like if you're gonna come at me and like give me a pity comment, like bitch, I can see I don't like that shit. Stop doing that shit. You know, I don't like pity. Like guys, when I'm actually talking, I'm opening up about myself. I'm not opening up because I want pity. I'm opening up just because it's no longer bother me. It just gave me strength, and I need to move on. I don't wanna like make my pain to be all about my sole purpose. I don't want to be everything to be about myself, you know. I just want to like give strength to someone else, you know. So you mirror their demons, obviously. You don't need to call upon judgment like you mirror their demons. They know that they need to work on themselves, but sometimes there is a reason why you have to call out on judgment on people. I mentioned that your philosophy calling it out judgment. Your vibe alone is as a fucking teacher. You are a teacher without you telling them do this. You're not supposed to. Your vibe itself, your vibe, your energy, what you're vibrating on, like, is the fucking teacher. That's why they try by all means to not to make like they try by all means to make you not be recognized, because they are so scared of who you become. They are so scared of the fact that it's the same thing with when we're raised in a family that don't love you. So when they're trying to shut the black sheep out, it's because not all black sheep though experience the harmful kind of abuse emotionally, physically. Not all of them, but some of them they can relate. So that's why your vibe itself is a teacher. You'll be like, okay, guys, I vibe a lot, which is a good thing. So your vibe itself is a fucking teacher. They are learning something, but obviously when you say, oh, wow, they because they're operating from that ego, they will hate it. They will hate the fact that you're not operating from that. They will be jealous of that. They wish this is something coming out on their mouth. They wish this is how they move. They wish this is how they maneuver life. They wish this is how philosophically they are. They wish this is how they whatsoever, which is like like, girl, everything is not like a competition, because I don't know how a lot of things, and as I don't know a lot of things, I watch a lot of YouTubers who know something about it. Because the thing is with YouTube, you're gonna find a lot of content. As you find a lot of content, you're gonna be like, okay, this is the content that I need to indulge in. This is the content that I need to do this and that, because eventually I don't know shit like about life. I may have knowledge about spiritual, but it doesn't mean I don't know other spiritual people. Then I'm like, okay, some I'm like, this one is coming. I don't need to watch this one. I need to continue to other ones. So I'm like that. I need to learn on that. So your fucking vibe itself is just a teacher. That's why they want to shut up, or like, guys, yo. Yeah, you need to be versatile. I mentioned that. You just need to be versatile with judgment. Like, there's no need for you to follow judgment people that they're already in your vibe, or like in terms of when I'm say in your vibe, they're already like, there are some people who can just tell. They just need you to listen. You know, they need you to listen and whatsoever. So okay, I remember like I had this girl that came out on me. She knew that she made like a lot of bad decision, and I was not judging her at all. Like, I just knew that she need someone to listen to and whatever. So I was asked to call on a judgment on her, which I refused. I was like, because the thing is, like, we hear a voice like, tell her this. I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. And then I was like, you know what? The only thing that I feel like I would just listen to her, and another thing I would tell her she doesn't have friends, because I felt like that was the most important. But other ones, I just keep on. I was like, she already like going through so much already. Like I need to know, you know. So I was like, she was telling me all the problems. She actually like she had friends. I was like, girl, you don't have friends. Huh. It was like she wanted to strangle me. Like, I'm like, I was like, okay. And then I like, okay, I need to be somewhere because I feel like that girl was gonna strangle the shit out of me. Not only that, because at some point, I think we lie to ourselves so much. Like we have to lie to us, especially if like you've been neglected. Because that girl have experienced a lot of neglect in her life through childhood, and so she has to do things on her own. So she had this persona, this fuckhead that she had to been carrying on for the most of her life. Because she was popular, she had all that. It was obvious when you're popular, people will be around you because of your popularity, not for the right reason, not because they're genuinely into you, not because they genuinely love you. So I had to be honest with her, like, girl, you don't have friends. And other things, I feel like they are not that important because she's a person that actually reflects on herself, which is a good thing. I like coming across people who actually reflect on themselves. They just that I like people who know that they can be better. I like people who are very much into their spiritual development, personal development, whatsoever. So I don't need to call on judgment on people who are actually smart like that.